Okay, on. Dah. Okay, tes. Okay. Smart apa ni? Meja aku yang smart ah. That's funny. No, belum timbul. Okay, ada. Okay, nampak. But testing. Testing at 12:30. Okay, 30 seconds delay. Makin cepat lah. Call dulu 1 minute. Okay. Oops. Set susun 1 minute. Nampak? 11:14, 10:46. 10 seconds. Baru lang, tapi aku testing nga to audio. So, but I think, yeah, anda kena atau Udah kan tangkap dari jauh. Testing testing, 1, 2, 3, testing testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello. 2:30. So 8 more minutes. Yeah, what's up? Oh, not mine. Yeah. Five minutes to go. 3 minutes left. Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one. Thumbs up. Okay, let's begin. Welcome to our only YouTube live series of this year. So this is tips and tricks to pitch. Specifically, this is for the business awards. So if any one who joins the business awards, they can watch this either live right now or they can watch this later once we publish it. And you can improve on your pitching and presentation. So, what I'm going to talk about, basic introduction, what is a pitch, communicating effectively, common mistakes, presentation tips, and if there's anyone watching and if anyone's curious, you can ask any questions and I will answer as much as I can. But on that note, if you have any questions whatsoever during the talk itself, I don't mind you asking those questions and I will answer them as soon as I can. So basically, I hope that you can have fun. Fully participate. Even this is online, you can still have discussions among yourselves in the chat. You can give comments in the chat. Hello, Feng Wei. Thank you for chatting. So again, Philip said you can add comments, discuss, listen actively, and speak your mind, ask questions in the chat. And you may share the live link. So especially if you find someone might benefit from this video, then you can share with them, maybe with your team as well. Okay, so if you don't know me, uh, that would be highly unlikely, but just in case, some of you know I have a background in science education, but I ended up doing businesses. I did join a few competitions myself. At one point, I did win first prize in the open category in 2005, 2006, and I've joined a few other competitions since then. So I know my way around. I've been in front, doing the pitch itself, and I've been also behind the table, evaluating people's pitch and presentations. So let's get it. So tips and tricks to pitch. So the objectives is to understand the competence of communication, the tips and tricks to present effectively, and at the end of it, you should be able to identify your audience and tailor your material according to your audience. And then you can communicate and present more effectively. Unfortunately, in this YouTube session, we won't be able to do activities. If you know my workshops, I like to do activities. So if you want to, there are workshops that we hold, especially on this pitching as well, in the future, where we will have almost the same content, but added with the activities. But for this YouTube, we don't have any activities. Oh, hello, Zizan. Thank you for watching. Okay, so basically presenting or pitching is basically communicating the narrative. There are many paths through here. So you can start off with market research, understanding the business, understanding the market, what are the business ideas available. Then use design thinking as a framework, develop a theory of change, vision, mission, and objectives. Then you develop a business model or a business plan if you're ready for that. And then, if possible, have a team so you're not alone, not all by yourself. And then you can lead the narrative. So, what's a pitch? So, the term has changed several times. When I used to do it, it's just called presentation, but I guess it's confused sometimes with the word prize presentation ceremony. So, nowadays it's been referred to as a pitch. So, what is a pitch? So, among the pitch that you might have heard is funding pitch, elevator pitch, and client presentation. So, again, the word presentation there. So funding pitch is usually when you pitch in order to get funding. So the business is almost like a funding pitch because you do get a prize, cash prizes if you win. So that's more funding pitch. Then there's elevator pitch if you want to get into the door when you are networking with people. The elevator pitch, the idea is you should be able to present your ideas is some people say 30 seconds, some people will say 1 minute, some people say 5 minutes. But yeah, the word elevator pitch is you can present to someone if you are in the lift together. So that's usually a few seconds to 1 minute. And then client presentation is when you're trying to sell your business ideas to investors. Yes, you're selling the idea so that they can fund it, but this is that you can sell to your customers or to your users. So there are several pitch events, including Shell Level Brunei Business Awards, and then their boot camps. I know it's mostly boot camps, but they do have pitching at the end. And then recently there's the Proudly Brunei Business Awards. So if you want to find out more about that, you can do so yourself. So why should you join a pitch event? So in general, there's a lot of opportunities. So you can celebrate the culmination of your efforts all that time you're planning the business, running the business, attend an event with good media coverage. So it's good publicity for yourself. So if you gain awards, even better. Meet mentors and coaches. So during these pitch events and the boot camps, you might be able to meet people who can teach you more, lead you to more successes. And then network with other organization and key stakeholders. Interestingly, even in the participation itself, you might partner up with some of the participants, or during the workshops, you might learn. You might meet new people, meet the speakers, meet the facilitators, and they might help you make that connection with the people that you need. Oh, jotting down all the info. I don't think you need to jot all the infos because again, this will be on YouTube, so you can. But I guess if you that's the way that you learn, then go ahead, write it down. Okay. Build market linkages. I just mentioned that goes along with the network. Reach out and interact with alumni and help strengthen network. So sometimes you don't just network with the new participants, but some of the participants are older participants, so they are more experienced. Okay, so what are the common issues? We'll cover a bit more, but for now, I'll just mention these two. So pitches are often unclear, and the audience often left confused. So this depends on how well you present yourself. So what should be included in a pitch? So it depends on a lot of factors. So in general, the main factor is who are your audience? What is it for? So it could be a business proposal for an investor, or bank loan to a bank or a banker, or to a tender proposal for either government or private. So There's a lot of factors, but in this case, I'm just going to share three business plans. So that's the main one. So the business awards is based on a business plan. So you have to adapt that business plan into a business plan presentation. So there's a difference. I'll talk more about that later. And then in some cases nowadays, a lot of people like to use the business model canvas. Nine parts of the business model canvas. I'll share again here the basic parts and how you should present it as well. And then the problem solution statement. So this is one of the things that we share. Simple for part structure for pitching. Okay, so the business model canvas. Okay, so the business model canvas. So these are the nine parts. So starting with value proposition or customer segments, then you talk about customer relationships, channels, and then key activities and key resources, along with key partners who you need to support you in that business, whether it's your supplier or your partners. And then financially, cost structure and revenue streams. And business plan, if you've taken up our business plan series workshop, or if you've watched our business plan videos. So this is the general structure of a business plan. So starting off with the business profile, okay, and then products and services. What are you selling? Market research. Who are you selling to? Your competitions, the market factors, market strategy, how you reach your market, operations, how you provide or produce your products and services, organization, who is in your team, the finances, the revenue and expenses involved, the profit and loss, and so on, and the future plan, what you will do in the near future or the long term future. Okay, so I'd like to share this one. So for people who have joined the Business Awards this year, you were provided with a business plan guide. I know some of you might not have checked your email. I'm very sure it was sent in your email. So this is actually a good guide for you to have made your business plan. So again, what you should include in your business plan depends on the audience, the reader. So if you're sending to the bank, ask the bank what they want from that business plan. They should have a template or a structure that you can follow, but in this case, in the business awards, this is the business plan guide that you've been given. Sorry if the text is small, but if you want to find or read the full text, you can find it in your email. It's probably there. But here I give you a brief description of the business plan guide. So by section. So the company description, the market analysis, the industry analysis, target market, competitor strategic position, how you position yourself in the market, the marketing plan and sales strategy, operations, technology plan, organization, community development, and social responsibility. This is useful for those who are targeting the social impact. But the other categories or focus areas is good to include this as well if you have any. This will provide you bonus marks as well. And then milestones and exit plan and the financial section with its profit and loss or cash flow, and then break-even analysis and ROI, return on investment. So that's the summary of the business plan guide. Again, if you want to find out more, search in your email. If you don't have them, we can probably include the link or something, or just contact them, the organizer. They probably can email you one more time. Okay, so back to the business model canvas, just sharing on how you would present this. So in general, you don't want to present the business model canvas all on its own, just like that. You can create just one slide at a time for each of those modules. So example, you can just zoom in and then this is the value propositions, then you pan to the customer segments, then you talk about the customer channels and the customer relationships. So that's on the right side, and then pan to the left side of the business model canvas. We talk about the key activities, the key resources that you need to run the business, and the key partners. So again, it's just one small part at a time in the business model canvas. You don't want to show the whole business model canvas. It will get too confusing. And finally, the financial part, which includes the revenue streams as well as the cost structure. So if you want to present your business model canvas, it's best to do it part by part. Next, so the pitching 101, the basic problem solution structure. So there's four parts: problem, solution, credibility, and opportunity. The why are you solving this? Why are you providing this? What exactly are you providing? Why you, credibility, and then the future that you're providing. So the problem, the business is the answer, a response to a problem. So what is that problem? How big is that problem? How frequent or severe is the problem? Why should the listener, the audience, care that the problem exists? So especially it's useful if the audience themselves have the problems that you're sharing. And then so the solution is basically the link from the problem that people have to the promised land, to the place that they want to be. So that's where your solution comes into play. So the solution paints a vivid picture of the promised land. So you have the knowledge, or in here it says you have the curse of knowledge. So don't go too specific or too deep. Again, it's a presentation. You don't want to go into much details. I'll mention that again. And you need to explain how you generate revenue in your business plan, or business plan presentation, or your pitch presentation. Then you have the credibility. So this is not one slide, by the way. This is several slides within that section. So in this first part, the progress, what have you made? Is it still in ideation, or do you have a prototype, or have you sold? Is it in the market already, and how much have you sold? So the more that, you go along this path, the progress, the better your chances are. Of course, the people who have already sold has better chances with people who have just ideas. And what proof can you offer that you will be likely to be successful? So depends on other factors as well, including this next item, the right team, the people that you have that helps you make the business a success. And what obstacles do you anticipate, and how will you overcome them? So what this is usually covered in SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you look at the risks involved and how are you going to overcome them. Okay, and finally, the projection. So, where is this going? What is your future market? What is the potential in that business? How big is the market? You might have learned some, the market size. So, how many people have that problem who are willing to pay? And then, how can your early traction be a foundation to do more? So, how can that sales of that one item might lead to other sales of other items as well? And finally, can the audience participate in some way? So if you're presenting to the investor, you want to make your ask here. You want to make the money pitch here. So what is it that you want them to do? What do you want the audience to do? In this case, for business awards, it's more like either to give you the awards, or maybe you're targeting one of the judges that you want them to be an investor or partner or an advisor. Okay. Pitch deck slides in general. Oh, that went down a bit, but it's okay. So again, problem, solution, credibility, projection. So the problem, you have problem statements, problem one, two, three, how many people have that problems. Solution, what is the value proposition, what are the benefits, the features from the solution they're providing, the prices that you're charging it for. And then credibility, your project status, again, whether it's just starting or you've already sold. Your team credibility. So if you have a bit of background on your team, what makes them so good that it will make your business a success, and potential challenges and the solutions for those challenges. And finally, projection, the market potential, as mentioned before, Samsung, the total addressable market, specific addressable market, and the specific obtainable market. And of course, profitability and ROI, return on investment, and the ask. Now, second part, communicating effectively. So a lot of people are not confident in this. In general, everyone can communicates very well, but the most important part in any communication is number one here is understanding who is listening to you, understanding your audience. Who is your audience? Uh, why and look how the audience affects how you would present. Of course, obviously, simple example here, you wouldn't present the same way to a kid as the same as an adult. So there's different styles. So and understanding who your audience is, then what type of communication is going to be effective? What's the best format? And then how do you adapt your own style? Because everyone has their own style, and then present to your customers or to your audience. So the different audiences, understanding the demographics. In what industry and what positions, what education and geography. Of course, I'll give a bit of hints later on the potential judges. No promises here. So understanding who they are, and then what are the things that they're looking for. What do they know about the problem? What do they want from you? What solution are they looking for? And then identify the challenges. what questions that they might have. So this is more of an preemptive strike. So before they ask their questions, you know what questions they are likely to ask, so that you're prepared to answer them. So main part, knowing audience. So in general, for business plans or business plan presentation or pitch, the audience in general are bankers, investors, managers or partners, customers, judges, teachers, and lecturers. Okay. So to be precise, now knowing your audience, what is it that they want to hear? So here's a basic list. Uh, Again, the individuals are different, but in general, according to their jobs, this is what they're looking for. So first, bankers is about how well you pay back the loan repayment. In some cases, they don't even care whether it's profitable or not. It only matters whether you can pay back, whether it's from the profits of the business or through collateral or other means. And then investors' return on investment, of course, they want to see a return on the investment, if possible, like 10 times the original investment. Managers and partners, depending on the partners, so they want to see how well the business can be managed, operated, and sorry, misspelling there, didn't notice that earlier, return on investment as well. So that's usually like financial partners, basically same as investors. Customers, they want to see the benefit versus the cost. The cost for them is usually the money or the time they put in, and the benefits what they get from using your solution. The judges, again, depends on which event, but in general, judges are usually given criteria. They have rubrics. They'll just tick some boxes. And then teachers and lecturers, they're usually academics, so they just look at content and presentation and how well you did. So now specific on the live wire judges. So no promises, but this is the pattern that has been happening in the last few years. So there's four types usually. The academics, so usually officers from Ministry of Education or the lecturers or tutors from high institutions. Then there's the professionals, people who are in the corporations, the CEOs or the CFOs or the CEOs of the company. The finances, whether it's banker, auditors, or the CFOs of companies, and entrepreneurs. People have done businesses before, and they have been selected to judge your business plan and your business presentation. So in general, what do they want? First, obviously, academics, they're just checking the boxes. What are the criteria given, and how well it's organized. So this is also very important. If you're given a guideline, follow the structure. Then there's the professionals. So they look at the management, and usually this depends on their background as well. So if you recognize what their background is in, then you can cater last minute your presentation. But most professionals will look at how well you manage it, how well you plan it, and how well you organize it in terms of team. And then finances, again, the bankers, investors, auditors, they'll be looking at the profitability and how realistic it is. It's funny sometimes that people have unrealistic for newbies or for startups. They think it's realistic, but for the seasoned financial officers, they feel it's unrealistic because that's what they've seen. And finally, the entrepreneur, usually they like new entrepreneurs. They usually are very gracious in giving the points. They like to see your passion and they like to see your potential. Yeah, going back, I've shown this before. So the business plan guide. So if possible, your pitch follows this structure as well, because very likely the rubrics is based on this as well. So how well you are identifying or explaining or describing every one of these parts. So if you're missing a section, you might lose points on this. So again, the looking at the business plan guide, check the details if you want, and then make sure that you fulfill. Of course, keep in mind your business plan and your business plan presentation should be very, very similar. You shouldn't have any changes from your business plan to your business plan presentation. I don't know if the judges might penalize you for that, but in general, what they probably at this point judge you on your business plans already. So they're expecting your business presentation to be similar. Okay, on the presentation part, so they will be looking at your presentation ability, your knowledge, how well you answer the questions, how well you present yourself, personal skills, your soft skills, and your personal attributes. So they will look at your content, what you present, and then the delivery, how you speak, and then how well you handle Q&A. Okay. So next, final part on the second part is adapting your style. So if you look into communications, you might have seen these charts. So in communication, communication is not just words. So a minimal part of it is words, and then a bigger part of it is your voice, your intonations, your vocal variety, and finally, the most that people will communicate through is body language. If you see the numbers, it looks almost uh, irrational in some cases. But if you really look at it, this is why silent movies actually work, like Mr. Bean. So he doesn't speak at all, but you understand what's happening because there's a lot of body language there. These are the percentage of the usual communication. So you make sure that your elements, these three elements, are on the dot. But based on this as well, you can look into the speakers. So the speakers, what are the words you speak? What's the level of vocabulary that you're using? How you speak, whether it's monotonous or are you passionate? Do you go up and down? Do you have pitch, pace, and pause? And of course, your presentation, how you look. So if you're presenting, it's best you look your best. But of course, there are limits. So, example, if you're a farmer, you're not gonna wear a suit. Or if you are selling fashionable items, you might as well be wearing those fashionable items. So how you look matters. Okay, and finally, still using these three elements, the content of your slides. So if possible, every single slide, which builds up to the whole presentation. You follow these rules as well. So again, text is minimal, and then the tone and theme, so the color scheme, and then the visuals. So you might even notice my slides most of the time, not all the time, not 100%. I also follow this as well. So you might notice in this page probably a bit more, like it's like 10% is text. The tone and theme, you might notice the color scheme is almost the same, but of course there's a standard that Shell Library follows. It's basically the color of the flag, color of Brunei Shell Petroleum, and then the visuals. So if possible, every slide has a visual. So it's not just text completely. It has to have visuals, and the visual should be a major part of the slides and the presentation. Okay, so now pitching on common mistakes. Okay, going in depth a bit. Here are the most common mistakes that are done in pitches. So one of the problem is too much time on the problem and not enough time on the solution, getting too technical, and then trying to mention everything in your pitch. So again, too much time on the problem, so you're focusing too much on the problem. The four-part solution. So a problem should be at least, sorry, at most is 25%. So focus on what's important, distribute time evenly for your content. Again, in general, the problem is just 25%. And then getting too technical, this sometimes we take for granted, even when in library we tend to use technical terms, but usually in the beginning we tend to explain them first, and then we well, once we've explained enough, then people understood it, and we repeat enough, then people understand. But your judges might not be aware of those words, so be aware of those terms. Usually happens in technical or technology based business ideas. So beware of the jargon. There are things that the audience might not be familiar with, that you have taken for granted. And then final mistake here, trying to mention everything in your pitch. So again, you don't have enough time. There's only a limited amount of time. Depends on the pitch event. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 15 minutes. So within that time, just state what is important for your audience. So highlight of all the things, even though I showed you the whole structure. If you don't have enough time, you might have to omit a few things. And if they ask any questions, just leave it for the Q&A. So I've mentioned this before, business plan document versus business plan presentation. So I hope, I'm betting not all people did this. So your business plan document should be different from your business plan presentation in terms of content. It shouldn't be the same thing. I've seen though that people submit that it's actually a presentation, not the business plan document. So you might lose some marks there. So the business plan document is read by the reader at the end phase, but the business plan is presented to the audience in a set amount of time. in the business plan document, it should have details. And if you want more details, then it should be available in the appendix. But in the presentation, you need to highlight highlight important information and leave details to Q&A if they are asked. And then business plan document, these are details that should be summarized in the presentation. So nothing in the presentation should should not something in the presentation shouldn't be in if there's not in the business plan document, it shouldn't be in the business plan presentation. So the purpose of the business plan document is to outline the whole business idea so that you can give more information to the reader. That's the same thing basically, but in the terms of pitch presentation, it's how you explain verbally. And for both cases, it shows how well the entrepreneur actually knows about the business. Shows the confidence. Although in the presentation, it will shine through a lot more. Again, if you have any questions, you can ask. I don't have to just speak by myself. I'm still monitoring the questions as well. Okay, so here's a few examples. So on the left side here, we have a huge text that's more than 50% of the slide. But it's probably better if you can have the slide and then you speak about it, you explain about it. So you don't, the reader doesn't have to read the slide. They shouldn't in general, because you're the presenter. You should be presenting, explaining it to the audience. Another similar one. So of course, on the right, on the early one, sorry, on the early one, there was no description whatsoever. So if you just show it, then people won't understand. But if you are willing to share the whole story, that's okay as well. But you can go on this next one. So minimal information, just the highlights, and then you can explain the rest of the content through your presentation. So again, this one is more than like 60% of text. So it doesn't really highlight the picture behind about the landfills. So on the right side, it highlights the landfill itself, the problems. So it highlights the picture. Again, a picture paints a thousand words. It helps if you showcase the image and then you present the rest. Then some slides are too complicated. In some cases, some business reporting is necessary. Sometimes it is presented this way. But in pictures, basically, it's required to be more simpler. Although some people who have technical background wouldn't mind this technical information. So in this case, it's more on market research, so market size. So it's simpler to show the again. This is similar to the Tam Sam Som. So the market size, the big market to the small market. So this is the example that I've shown before in the business plan series. So the Tam Sam Som, the Tam is showing the main target, the huge target. Sum is the specific target, and then the Som is the specific obtainable market, the people who actually will buy. So the most common mistake that people do in this Tam Sam Som, hopefully you didn't do this in your business plans, is that Tam they put either the population, the whole population of Brunei, or the whole population of the world. That shouldn't be the case. It should be the people who are actually will be coming to your store or going to your website. So people who are actually becoming your market. You can't sell to everyone. Okay. So here's another example. So again, in finances, some investors of auditors or bankers wouldn't mind the details, but they've probably already read it in your business plan. So you just need to summarize it in a simpler way. So on the chart on the right. So that's good enough. Unless they ask for more details, why are you buying this? Why are you spending much on this? So you can show the details later during the Q&A. Similar with profit and loss calculation, they've probably seen your business plan. This is just a reminder to them. So on the left side is just numbers. Again, for financial people, they probably don't mind. They like it better. But for the rest of evaluators, they might just prefer a more graphical view, which is on the right side. And then I think this is the last example on the finances. Again, details on the left side, summarized on the right side. So again, just choose the simpler one. But if you like numbers and you think the judges will like the numbers, then you can show this. But I highly recommend that you save it for the Q&A if they ask. Okay, almost at the end, presentation tips. So that was designing your content and your slides. Now presenting. So if you have 10 minutes, in general, you should have 10 slides. It depends on how fast you speak and how you structure your whole Slides, at most 10 minutes, 20 slides at most. Again, depending on how fast or how slow that you read certain slides. I know some lecturers might have one slide for the next 30 or 60 minutes even. So keep it simple. As you notice, usually keep it simple, just in point form. Usually about five is good. uh, make it to the point, so you don't blurt out all too much information. Tell a story if you can. Again, the four part actually uses story. What's the situation, what's the problem, what's the solution, and what was the future of it. I mentioned already, dress professionally, so dress your best. So again, part of the visuals of the communication. You're also communicating the company brand through how you dress. And finally, this. So some people are not familiar or not comfortable with pitching or presenting. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. So practice in front of a mirror, or you practice in front of someone, your friends, your family, especially if they can give you feedback on how to improve. Again, every feedback is usually constructive, so don't mind the feedback. Okay, so my last tips, yeah, I think my last few slides. Okay, so your idea doesn't just make money, but it helps people. It provides a solution. It creates jobs, provides a service, alleviates a pain or discomfort. So a lot of people will want to get what you're providing, and it's not just an idea, but a work in progress. As mentioned, if it's just an idea, it's very low marks. But if it's working prototype, or even better, that you're already selling it, you'll get better marks. And especially if the judges, or they think, oh, this business won't work, but you have the numbers to prove, oh, I've already sold this, then they'll change their mind. This has happened if you've watched Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, when the investors didn't like the idea, but then they showed the sales, then they were impressed. So if you can do something already, yeah, at least have an MVP, minimum viable product. You have the numbers to back you up, either again the sales numbers or the market research. And in your team, you have qualified people, yeah, whether employees or partners involved. It's quite common that some people are by their lonesome by themselves, but it's better if you have people that help you, because as smart as you are, you're not as smart as a group of people. And finally, be passionate in your presentation. So be expressive, because it's your idea, it's your baby. You should be happy about it. You should be happy in presenting about it. So in summary, so you need to have a strong value proposition to be able to communicate effectively, understanding what you're providing and who you're providing it to, and then be aware of who your audience is and what message will resonate with them. Understanding who they are. So I've told you the likeliness of who they are, not the people themselves, not the individuals, but in general the types of people that we um, choose for judges. And then based on the audience, identify what format and content will work best. Again, based on the criteria that we provide you, we also provide to the judges. So just follow that format if possible, and develop your own unique style. So again, this depends on your personal branding or your company branding. So don't be shy about making small modifications to improve on your business plan presentation. So if you want to find out more, so I think some if not all of you in the Business Awards have joined our business plan series. So you've seen how I've done it. Although that was a big group, so I didn't get everyone to present. In a smaller group, usually everyone has an opportunity to present and get feedback. And then there's also this pitching workshop. So what I've shared here is from our pitching masterclass. But in here, I'm just sharing you the concept and the contents. But in the workshop, I will usually provide time and space for you to discuss about your ideas and how to present it. So that's the classes that we have. So if you want to find out more, we will be uploading, well, not this whole video, but we'll be changing it a bit, this content, and to put it into our LMS, our learning management system library, so that you can probably refer to this in the future. Of course, you can refer to this in the YouTube, but in the LMS, we'll also have some quizzes, so to make sure that you understood what was shared, just to test out your comprehension. Okay, so that basically ends the YouTube live. So just checking. Wow. Okay. So not a lot, but still not bad. So now I have 13 people watching. If you have any questions, You can ask in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna give at least 1 minute for anyone to type in. Maybe they didn't have any idea what to ask, so just give me 1 minute to